superb cross from Stanton. Edward Stanton are up 2-0. 21 minutes played in the second half.
Having managed the player at Hibs and having witnessed his contribution in the 1972 League Cup final against Celtic, Jock Stein knew what Pat Stanton could do. He had been named the Scottish Football Writers' Player of the Year in 1970 and was already regarded as a Hibs legend. So it was one of Scottish football's more surprising moves when, in 1976, at the age of 31, Jock brought Pat Stanton to Celtic Park.
Maybe looking back, I'd been here far too long. Maybe I should have left before that, but maybe they felt I was just getting to the end of things. But I can remember it was a Wednesday morning. I was meant to be playing for Hibs reserves at Tynecastle, and I was just going out the door and the phone went, and my wife picked the phone up and she says, it's Eddie Turnbull to talk to you. Now, the first time Eddie had ever phoned me, and I knew something, I wasn't quite sure, but I knew something wasn't quite right. And he came on the phone and he just said, I've got Mr. Stein, we'd like to have a word with you. And right away I knew what it was. And the conversation didn't last long. Jock just came on the phone, he says, how would you like to come and play for the Celtic? And I just replied, I'd love to come and play for the Celtic. And I heard him turning away to say, Eddie, yeah, I said he would. And that was it. He says, well, I'll meet you today. I met him out at the Barrington Hotel. I think he had his big green Jaguar, and he just says, come through the day and sign. And so when I did go through, I was walking across the car park to the main entrance at Celtic Park. Jackie McNamara was coming out there, and I didn't put anything together with Jackie. And it was only later on I realised Jackie was coming here, and I was going through there. But I couldn't believe it, you know, because in those days, when you were leaving, like say a club like the Hibs or the Hearts or the Rangers or the Celtic, you'd go to a club maybe, you know, lower down the leagues. But here was me, I was going the other way. I was going to play for the Celtic, and I couldn't believe it.
A real personal approach then by Jock Stein.
It was, and you know, this was our paths crossing again, you know. But I was delighted, and he just says, you know, maybe this move will, you know, he was right what he said. You know, you can be too long in one place, and you get a change of scenery, and you can extend your career by another 2 or 3 seasons. I was just a wee bit unlucky that I caught an injury, or else I'd have played for Celtic for another 2 or 3 years, no problem.
The Hibs fans weren't happy at you leaving, but was it something that you just had to do?
Like I say, you just knew that your time had come here, but to get a move like that was tremendous.
You still lived in Edinburgh. Did you ever consider moving your family through there, or did you just decide to travel through every day?
Well, I lived at the other side of the city, so it was in, you know, just going through the East End. It wasn't nothing, no problems at all, you know.
Did the Celtic fans take to you straight away then, Pat?
The Celtic fans were terrific to me. Anybody that you met before when I joined there, or even Celtic supporters in Edinburgh when I joined, they just wished me all the best, and they couldn't have been nicer. They really were. It was terrific, and at my age to go through there and get a couple of medals, like I said before, a lot of great players play all their lives and get nothing to show. And but like I say, I got a great welcome of the people at Celtic Park, both on the playing side and on the spectator side. Couldn't ask for more.
Did you feel at that point in your career that you had a real point to prove, the fact that you were coming from Hibs and of course the age you were at the time?
That's right. I think it's particularly going through there. You like to say, having played with Hibs all my life, all my football life, to go through there, but it was a massive club. You know, suddenly you think to yourself, what about this place? You know. And a wee thing that happened when I first went there, here, if you needed a new pair of boots, you had to take them to the manager and show them to the manager. And if they were beyond repair, he would give you a wee line, and you go to Thornton's in Princess Street and get yourself a new pair of boots. But but I had left my boots here, and my second day there I needed a pair of match boots, and I said to Bob Rooney, Bob, I've not got match boots, you know, and he says, well, I'll see you after training. And I thought I'd get a wee line, I'd go into a shop in Glasgow, the same routine as I had here. So when the training was over, he says, just come with me, and he took me up into the stand, and here was this big room, that's full of strips and balls and boots, and he says, just help yourself. And you know, people say to me, what was the biggest difference? That was one of the biggest difference. You know, after years of sort of having to get your wee line to go to the shop, here was this, and you could pick whatever pair of boots you got. And the funny thing was that the pair I picked, one was an 8.5 and one was a 9, and that's what I wore with the Celtic, an 8.5 and a 9.
Why?
Because somebody must have put them back in the box, and the wrong one in the box. I never checked the sizes. I just put them on. It seemed all right. That was me. So I had an 8.5 and a 9.
Do you think when you made the move to Celtic, a lot of people were expecting you perhaps not to play as often, to be more of a squad player? The fact that you were playing for Hibs reserves at the time, and then to go to Celtic and succeed?
Well, I think it was just the way when Jock spoke to me about going there. You know, it was, you know, you knew just the way he was speaking to you, he expected you to go through there and do a job, and you weren't going to be just on the fringe of things, you know. And like I said earlier on there, he says that, you know, silly goals, we're losing silly goals, we're going to stop that. He says, and that's what you're here for. So, and that was it. Because when I was playing here with the Hibs, I would go up for free kicks and corner kicks and all that sort of stuff. Celtic, I don't get away over the halfway line. And win a league, a cup medal, I don't think I've got into other teams' half. And that's what I was there for.
So when you first arrived at the club, who were the players who welcomed you in with open arms?
Well, Big Rod, you know, I played alongside Roddy. Roddy was he's a big Highlander, a man of few words, but a nice big fella. But like I say, I knew Bobby Lyons for the Scottish game, the team, and Danny and Kenny, and Johnny Doyle. Johnny was just a bubbly character, you know. Knew him from his Ayr United days, and he was very nice. Ronnie Glavin, Johnny and him were a double act through there, but everybody, they were terrific. A great bunch. There was great team spirit there, you know, and you're made to feel welcome.
The majority of your career here at Hibs, you played in midfield, but as you said, Jock had a completely different role for you, especially when you moved to Celtic.
That's right. Just to play at the back, just sit behind Roddy, send Big Roddy to attack the ball, and that's what he said. His words, his very words, he just assumed that he'll miss everyone. And I think the whole season I don't think he missed any. And I just sat at the back there and watched the grass grow and got away with murder.
An easy season for you then?
No, you've got to pay attention. You've got to pay attention, and you've got McGrain, you know, there, and Dalglish and moaning their heads off. So maybe you looked as though you weren't paying attention, but you were, you know. But you've got to be, because it can, you know, when you're playing at the back, if you're not, you've got to see it happening a good bit before it happens. But these guys made sure you did.
One of your first games for Celtic was an Old Firm game. Was it what you expected?
It was a bit more than what I expected. I'd played against the Rangers and the Celtic, played against Hearts, which are real hard games here. And I was relatively experienced. I mean, I was the age I was at, but still, it was a new experience. The crowd, you know, you're in the dressing room, like most big games, but you're in the dressing room and you can hear the buzz. You know, you're aware of it. You know, the place has just got that thing about it. And you've heard about them, but I'd never ever been to an Old Firm game. It was completely new, but I was experienced, but it was still something new to me when you went out there and that noise just hit you. And particularly playing at the back, you didn't want to be the guy that made the mistake, because you had to live with that till the next game, or if they ever let you forget it, you know, to be the guy that made the mistake that Rangers beat you, and you came off tired, and that was what it was. You were just, particularly the fact, you know, if you're a forward, you miss chances and things like that. But if you're at the back, if you make a mistake, it tends to end up in a goal, and maybe some of them would never forgive you.
Celtic went on to achieve the double that year. What was the highlight of that season for you?
Oh, I think when we were involved in running up, the run into the league, you know, when it became within touching distance, you were sort of saying, now if we beat them, and they beat them, and they beat them, you sort of do all the sort of calculations as to what could happen for you to actually clinch it. We won it quite well in the end, but there was that stage just almost near the end. You're saying to yourself, like I say, if we can get a result here today and they get beat, we'll be there. And when the league was won at Easter Road, you know, all these years of playing here as a player, to actually win your championship medal here, it was tremendous. And then the following week to win the cup.
That's Craig. That's not down the line. Was it handled? Referee giving a penalty. The ball was handled.
Most certainly, penalty kick, most certainly.
Well, the Rangers players are protesting there, but
Most certainly penalty kick.
both Pat and I agree that a hand did stop the ball on the goal line, so it's a penalty kick to Celtic.
I think most viewers, when they see the replay, will know that it's a penalty kick. A good corner from Alfie Conn, and he gets up very well to header it. Now watch it just now as it comes out. As if Alson hits it, two hands on the ball.
Angelin's going to take it. The referee is waving the other players to keep outside the penalty area. And took it extremely well, putting it to Kennedy's left-hand side. He read the proper direction. There it is again. Watch Lynch coming up. Left foot, driving it away from Stuart Kennedy. A very well taken penalty indeed.
As we know, games against Rangers are always fiercely contested competitions, and you weren't afraid to get involved, were you?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Danny McGrain, Roddy McDonald, Pat Stanton, Troy Aiken.
I got involved in the cup final, I know that. Tommy McLean was a wee bit late on, and a good friend of mine, Tommy, I was surprised at him. He was just a bit late on me, you know, and I was a bit annoyed. I got involved with Derek Johnson. But Derek was much bigger than me. I should never have done that, but Tommy surprised me, you know.
Heat of the moment then?
It was a cup final. It was against the Rangers. You're allowed to lose your rag a wee bit.
So what was your relationship like with Jock on a one-to-one level?
Well, the fact that I'd been here with him, and let's face it, he was all powerful, you know, and maybe you were terrified of him, you know, but I wasn't frightened to speak back to him. You know, I made sure I wasn't standing next to him when I did it, but I would, if I had anything to say, I would say it to him, and I think he respected that.
Was he always like that, or was there a softer side to him perhaps behind closed doors?
Oh yeah, I can remember one thing that happened. This was a photo shoot, and it was Bobby Lennox with his boy. I had my son, Johnny Doyle, Paul Wilson, Andy Lynch. They had a photograph of us. We had our Celtic strips on, and they kitted the kids out with their strips. They're all about 4 or 5 year old, and Jock had his grandson. And after they'd taken the photographs, we're in the dressing room and we're putting the kids' street clothes back on them, you know. And the guy who was with the photographer was folding up all the wee jerseys that the kids had wore. And I could see Bobby Lennox looking at me like that, and I wondered what he was on about. And because Jock was standing at the door of the dressing room, and this guy's folding up these jerseys to put them back in their plastic bags. And Jock says, "Excuse me." And the chap looked up, and we were all sitting waiting to hear. We had an idea what was coming. And Jock says, "Can I ask you what you're doing?" And the boy said, "I'm folding up the jerseys." And Jock says, "Do you mean to say these kids have come through here today for your photograph, and you're not letting them take the jerseys away with them. And the boy in the chat went, of course I am. He says, that's why I'm folding them up. And Bobby looked at me and said, right enough. They were going back to the shop, you know, but Big Jock just got them, and the kids have got the jerseys.
You played alongside a number of Celtic greats, but you seem to have a special admiration for the Lisbon Lion that was Bobby Lennox.
He's just cheery wee character, and you know, if you didn't know who he was and what he's achieved, you know, you think he's just a cheery wee guy, but underneath all that there was a real hardcore there, you know, when things got going, he was there. Aye, a great admirer of Bertie. I thought Bertie was a great player. I don't think Bertie, you know, Bobby Murdoch was fabulous, great player. I don't think Bertie ever got the credit. Maybe he does, but in my book, I was a great admirer of Bertie. Bertie would play in the San Siro and fancy his chances, you know. He was just one of these. That was just great attitude to have in him, and you know, nobody puts that in them. You've got that comes with you.
Celtic had a really strong team, which included the likes of course, Kenny Dalglish, Danny McGrain and Johnny Doyle, players like that. Aye,
to get into that team, you were doing well. You know, there was a lot of players on the edge of the team that didn't quite get in there. So I was lucky, the fact that Jock had sort of managed, he'd got a place for me there, and he saw that I would, you know, hopefully fit in, and lucky enough I did.
At that time, a very young Tommy Burns was breaking onto the scene. Was it clear early on that he had a special talent, if he could mix with the likes of Dalglish, McGrain, Lennox?
Well, Tommy was a typical sort of Glaswegian, you know. He just nothing would put him off. But the early games that he came in, he played. He would come in if say Andy Lynch was injured, Tommy would come in at left back. And he could, you know, Tommy was a hard tackler. A lot of people didn't realise that, but Tommy could put it about. A lot of people would tell you to their cost, but you could see that he had more than that. He could play, and midfield was going to be his position, and which he eventually did. But he wasn't a shrinking violet, Tommy. You know, he had all the patter. You know, but he was nice with it. You know, that's what you liked about him. He didn't take himself too serious. He took his football serious. Playing for Celtic, very serious. That was, but himself, but a nice, really nice lad, smashing guy. You know, a wee bit like Lennox. There was just a nice bunch of guys there. A few moaners, you know. Kenny was forever moaning. Never stopped moaning. Danny could, but Roy was another shocker with the moaning. But that's what made them what they were. I often thought, you know, that you know, Danny and Kenny and Roy and people like that were great Celtic men. But if you were asking me, the one that sort of epitomised the Celtic and just a real Glasgow boy, I would say Tommy Burns. He was a really nice person to talk to, great integrity, you know, terrific guy. But just him and just his manner about the club, and you couldn't help but think it, you know, you're the one that sums this club up, you know.
You'd only won the League Cup at Hibs, so adding the League Championship and the Scottish Cup to your medal collection must have been special.
Oh, it was. It was, and it was funny, on the Sunday morning after the game, my phone went, and it was Jimmy O'Rourke on the phone, and he said, all he said was, well, that's you got the three, and well done, and put the phone down. And I'll always remember him for that. He's a real nippy sweetie, Jimmy, you know, and he's a wee moaner as well. And but for him to find the time on the Sunday morning to phone me and say that, and like I say, he didn't elaborate, he just put the phone back down. Because he was miserable, it would be the phone call he'd be worried about, but that was really, I always remember Jimmy for that.
Was it more than you imagined at the age of 31 to move to Celtic and achieve the double?
It was Very, very lucky, very fortunate. Like I say, a lot of great players get nothing, you know, but better late than never. And the way we did it, you know, that season we won the league well. We won it with a few points.
Unfortunately, Pat, your Celtic career was cut short at the start of the next season. In the first game against Dundee United, you were injured. Did you know instantly the dream was over?
It was just my knee. I felt that my knee was just. I went to turn a couple of times, and I just felt my knee sticking. There was nobody near me. I think it was just years of wear and tear. It was just catching up with me. And eventually, I didn't come out. I came out to start the second half, but I couldn't continue, and I went off. And eventually, I had to have an operation on it. But had I been in and out quick, I'd have been okay. But I got hepatitis, I think it was, when I was in. I don't know how I got that, you know, but I was out for a whole year. But I got back, when I came back to training, by that time Jock had left, Big Billy was the manager, and I'd played in the first team at Montrose at the start of the season, and played reasonably well, but there was wee things in my game that weren't there before. You know, I was just taking that wee bit longer, and I felt, time to call it a day, because going back to what I was saying about playing in the Old Firm game, you can't afford to be caught at the back, and people were getting close to you, whereas maybe a season or two before they wouldn't have got close to you. But so I felt, time to go, and I went in just on the Monday morning. This was just at the start of the season, and I told Billy that was my intention. He was very good about it. You know, he accepted my decision. You know, he said, "You just want to take a wee bit of time about it." I said, "No." I said, "I think it's the right thing to do," and he was great about it.
How difficult a time was that for you?
It was hard. It was difficult, because one minute you're playing, the next minute you're not playing, and I can remember because that was just about the start of the season. So when the season started, because that had been a pre-season friendly I'd been playing in, but the season started, it was a Saturday morning. It was the first time for years my wife says, "What are you going to do?" I says, "What I'll do is, Hearts were playing Aberdeen at Tynecastle." So I went to Tynecastle to watch it, and I was standing outside Tynecastle, and a chap came up to me. He says, "Have you got a ticket?" I said, No. I said, "I'm just going to pay again." He says, "There's a ticket." A man called Stan Smith, a great Aberdeen man, and I became great friends with him in years to come. But that was the Saturday, and on the Monday, I got a phone call from Alec Ferguson, and he says, "Just have come meet you." And I went to Aberdeen as his assistant, you know. And it was just, I don't know if it was Stan had anything to do with it, but it was just funny how our paths crossed, you know, and that was that.
As part of the deal that brought you to Celtic, you were granted a testimonial between Hibs and your current club. A special occasion for you?
Okay. Oh, yeah, it was a cold, miserable day, and the place was packed. The Celtic support were terrific. It was, you know, Jimmy Johnson played, Tommy Gemmell played, there was one or two others. It was just a great day for me, it really was, you know. Because I remember that morning getting up and it was miserable, cold, damp, Sunday. I was, this will affect the crowd, it didn't it? Because Big Jock came, when the Celtic bus arrived, I said, "Look at the weather," he says, don't worry about the weather, he says, they're coming through, he says. The buses are coming through now. Fabulous, absolutely fabulous, you know. For some that had just played a short spell with them, for these people to come through on a Sunday or a miserable day in Edinburgh, and you know, like I said, the place will be empty. He says, no, I says, the buses are coming through. Great, big club, great club.
Any regrets about your footballing career?
Regrets? No, I was very lucky. I had a great career, and when you look at it, the two teams I played for, if you were to ask me the two teams I would like to play for, that's the ones I played for. You know, I was a Hibs supporter, but and a lot of leanings towards the Celtic. So I was lucky.
So happy memories from your time at Celtic then?
Terrific. Couldn't have been better. You know, if somebody had said to me when I started out playing here for the Hibs that your last full season you'll play for the Celtic and you'll win the league and you'll win the cup, you say nah. But I did. And so it was great.